Hey, welcome. We want to welcome you tonight to our cooking show. Cooking show number, which one, Ms. Lares? It's cooking show number 16. So welcome tonight for our cooking show number 16. We have a special show tonight. We've invited our own Chief Wu to cook with us tonight. And I just wondered, before we get started, bienvenidos a todos al show de cocina. Ms. Lares va a tener un momento también para introducir y para hablar con nosotros también. I just wanted to tell you about tonight's cooking show. The cooking show has always been a place for us where parents can share ideas, where the community can get resources and news. And so we also wanted to make tonight a special evening where the community can also see police officers as regular people who cook just like everyone else. And I just hope that this, continues on, that we continue to have dialogue and get a chance to share cuisine. So esta noche quiero invitarlos todos, muchas gracias por venir. Quería decir que el show de cocina siempre ha sido un lugar donde los padres pueden compartir ideas y también un lugar para la comunidad, para que se pueda juntar, recibir información. Entonces, en esa misma manera de pensar, pensé hacer el show esta noche para invitar a las personas de la policía, para enseñarlos como miembros igual que como nosotros, personas que cocinan, y también para que sea para empezar un diálogo, ¿verdad? Para empezar, para que se conozcan la gente. La cocina es algo universal. So vamos a compartir. So before we get the show on the road tonight, we cannot start the show with our own famous Ms. Lares, because without the cooking show, without Ms. Lares, just wouldn't be the cooking show. So let me introduce to you our own Ms. Lares. Ms. Lares, if you want to introduce yourself.
Buenas tardes a todos, soy la señora Lares, soy la comunitaria de la Escuela Davis. Bienvenidos. Estamos muy emocionados ahora de hacer el show número 16 y tenemos a un invitado muy especial que es el jefe de policía del Departamento de Policía del distrito, y nos va a cocinar algo delicioso, nos va a compartir su receta y para que todos platiquemos y unirnos para que ver que también con la policía, como con nosotros todos somos comunidad.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lares. Knowing that we're all community, thank you so much, Ms. Lares, just for expressing that the way that you did. Way better than I could. I appreciate that. Well, Chief, you're the star of the show, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to you and share with us, Chief, what are you cooking tonight? Let me just...
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief of Police for the Compton Police Department, and I'm really honored to be here sharing one of my favorite recipes. What this is I was watching YouTube one day and just watching some cooking stuff, and I was bored and came across this interesting dish that came from Turkey. It's a breakfast dish called shakshuka. The original dish is pureed tomatoes with chopped vegetables like bell peppers, onions, and then they stew it, simmer it down to a semi-solid mass, poach some eggs on top, and then they put hummus and pita bread to eat it like a breakfast dip. When I was watching it, I was thinking, well, it looks good, but I like eating meat. So I figured, why not try to do an Italian version of it? Being Chinese is only natural for me to try to cook Italian. And so I thought, instead of using tomato, which is kind of acidic and watery, I went with marinara, chunkier marinara to give it the meat flavor and the savory flavor. And also just regular ground Italian sausage that you can get at the market, 1 pound. So you get 1 pound of the regular ground Italian sausage, mild, how much you like spicy, that's up to you. And what you do is I'm already using Dr. Pan, so I have to use this, I have to use a pot. It'll come out about the same. You just throw the whole thing in there, but make sure, unfortunately, a lot of this comes with the paper that you gotta peel off. So make sure you don't bring yourself as you peel off the paper from the sausage.
Vamos a tratar, González.
Sorry, I forgot to mention to you, if you give us a minute, because we have to translate everything in Spanish as well. So just to give us, so what you did is you actually took a Tunisian plate. Was that correct?
It's a Middle Eastern breakfast dish. Italian dish.
So you took a Middle Eastern dish and you converted it into Italian. Interesting. Ms. Ladish, you got it? Or you need some help on it? So, oh wait, hold on, Ms. Ladish, we can't hear you. I'm mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
Está diciendo el jefe de policía, el Chief Wu, dice que este platillo que va a preparar, que no tiene ninguna historia de por qué. Que no, porque está, no tiene, pero está inventado. Dice que estaba viendo videos de la cocina en YouTube y se encontró este plato, ese tunecino interesante que se llama shakshuka. Y también y se le hizo interesante, pero cambió algunas cosas, ingredientes, ¿no, Mr. González?
Yes. Cambió unos ingredientes y entonces ahora lo hizo más estilo italiano. Okay. Yeah. All right, Chief. Ready to go back.
So you just throw the whole pound of ground Italian sausage in here, let it cook. You don't have to cook it all the way through because you're going to simmer it later. So what I do is I throw it in there. And once it's about halfway through, and you start seeing the surface being cooked and it's turning grayish but still has bread in it, just make sure you break it up into chunks so that you don't get big chunks of meat in the mixture. So you stir it up, make sure you nicely separate it into little bits. And then at the time, when it's halfway cooked, make sure you use the medium heat if you don't want to.
Okay, Chief, give us just a minute. That was a handful that you gave us there.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you took the sausage. You said you put it in the sauce.
Yes.
Okay. So puso. You got it, Ms. Ladish?
Well, dice que es una receta muy simple. Lo que hizo es agarró
el chorizo italiano.
Ajá. Y ¿qué reemplazó el?
Que hizo el chorizo, usó el chorizo italiano y lo puso en una salsa de tomate.
Okay, so lo reemplazó con una salchicha italiana molida y hizo con un frasco de salsa de marinera y ya le puso dos tazas de champiñones, ¿o no?
I don't think he's had the mushrooms yet. Have you added no, he didn't add the mushrooms. He didn't.
El frasco de salsa y la carne, ¿verdad? ¿La está mezclando?
Yes, lo está mezclando. All right, Chief. Thank God we don't have 3 or 4 languages tonight, Chief. This will really be an interesting show.
I'll do it in Chinese.
So what's next? What's next on the next step?
So while you're translating, as you see, when the sausage is cooked halfway through and it's still red, but the outside's cooked, I dumped in the whole jar of marinara sauce to let it finish cooking the whole way. When you dump in the sauce, make sure you mix it in very well. So now you have a good distribution of the sauce versus the meat, because it's going to be.
Ok, so entonces dice Chief que cuando más o menos está casi cocinado el chorizo italiano, entonces que ponga el resto de la salsa italiana para que se pueda cocinar todo entero.
Y que lo mezclen muy bien, ¿no? Que se mezcle muy bien para que se pase todo.
Muchas gracias, Ms. Ladish. Thank you. Okay, Chief, we're caught up with you now.
Okay, so last step, after you empty the jar, I put a little bit of water, just a little tiny bit. And then I dump it in there to add in a little more liquid because you want to make sure it cooks off, but you don't want it to cook so fast that it starts drying up and burning the bottom. This way it prevents the sausages from being burnt or sticking to the bottom of the pan.
Okay, so entonces que le eche un poco líquido para que no se seque completo y para que no se queme abajo y siempre mantenerlo un poco líquido. Anything I missed, Ms. Ladish?
Pero le puso el agua le puso un poco de agua para ayudar a mezclar los ingredientes, nomás que no lo pongan con el fuego muy alto, de quemar la cazuela o lo que está abajo.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Ladish. Thank you. Ms. Ladish, we're going to start working on Italian, French next time around.
That would be awesome.
So while we're doing that, the next thing we do, while this is cooking, you let it a little bit. So put it on the heat and just let it start simmering away and reduce the fluid or the liquids in the mixture.
Dice que luego mientras la mezcla está hirviendo, ¿qué le puso Mr. González? No lo puedo
just the liquids, just the liquids.
Okay.
And while that's, are you or are you guys translating?
Yes, we're done translating. Go ahead and go to the next part. Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing while this is cooking away, I make homemade Italian garlic toast. So what you do is you go to the store and just buy Italian bread. You can buy a pre-sliced or like this one, which is not sliced. Now, if you're going to slice your own, I suggest thicker because this is going to be used as a dip, sort of, to hold the mixture. So you want a little thicker so it holds up. Now, what I have in this bowl, I already melted unsalted butter. I use unsalted because you don't need that much more salty flavor because you already got the marinara and the sausage. So I melted the regular unsalted butter and I put in garlic powder. You can put in more or less depending on you like garlic.
It makes a lot of sense, Chief. Go ahead, Ms. Lattis, and then I'm going to ask him a question. Go ahead.
So, este platillo él lo cocina con es pan de ajo, ¿verdad? O paga de ajo, algo que tenga un poco del que esté un poco, que pueda meter a la
que pueda meter la salsa arriba del pan porque está grueso, eso que está diciendo Ms. Lattis. Y entonces
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ms. Lattis.
Y luego lo que está haciendo, está cocinando aparte, dice que está derritiendo mantequilla que no tiene sal, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y sal porque ya suficientes ingredientes tiene la salchicha que está cocinando. Un pan bueno que puedan meter al
horno.
Sí, al horno para cocinar, pero es casi, puede ser de cualquier pan, pero este se combina bien con el pan de ajo.
And Chief, so it makes sense that you wouldn't use the salted butter because you already have a lot of kind of the salt content with the tomatoes and the sausage, right?
Exactly. So for the unsalted butter.
Okay.
Es mejor la mantequilla sin sal, dice, por los ingredientes que ya tiene la comida, pero es mejor hacer la mantequilla sin sal.
So over here is the melted butter along with garlic powder, and what you do is you take the bread. I just dip it in there, and then once you dip it on one side, you only need it on one side. Then you place it on the toaster tray.
Oh, okay.
Very simple, but it makes it easier to let it, to cover it.
Entonces lo que está haciendo es usando el pan y metiéndolo en la mantequilla porque entonces lo va a poner en el horno. So este va a ser el pan con ajo, que le echo un poco de ajo también.
And I love the end piece. End piece is the best. I don't know why people don't like it. I love it. So there, now
el mejor, dice que no sabe por qué.
You take this.
The exciting part with all this is happening in our own culinary arts room in our school. This is the exciting part that Chief is getting. This is the second time. Our first time we had Miss Carter and her son cook, and we're using, as we start coming back to normalcy, we're going to be using this room a lot. So I'm really excited to see Chief bringing out our first cookout as we start getting back. We appreciate that.
So, because you're not worried about 4 minutes, this bread's going to be used as a base, so you can toast them ahead of time and just let it sit on top and keep warm, but it doesn't have to be hot. And this way it'll kind of dry out a little bit as well, so it gives you a firmer taste of the sauce without getting real soggy.
So dice él que el pan lo tiene él, que ya tiene tostado, entonces eso lo puedes poner al lado para que no se seque, que ya se secó, que ya lo cocinó. Si entonces no importa que si se ponga frío, todavía está bien.
So while this is cooking away, you see the liquids boiling to the top now. Once it starts getting a little dry on top and you see a thin crust forming, that's when you can put the eggs in. So we'll wait for it for a little bit.
You want to try? Can you get that one, Miss Lares?
So dice que nomás es de dejarlo en el fuego y nomás dejar que se le haga otra delgadita. Es cuando vamos a saber que ya va a estar casi listo.
So in the meantime, I'll slice up some more bread.
Mientras va a cortar más pan. Y lo que estaba diciendo Mr. González anteriormente es que lo bueno de este show de cocina que está cocinando el Chief Wood desde la escuela Davis, de nuestra cocina.
It's important to use the bread knife.
I know. The knives, there's a sharpener there for you on the side, Chief. Sorry about that.
No. This is good.
It's
this
good?
Is perfect. It won't tear the bread.
Okay.
You need the bread knife.
So, Chief, tell us something real quick before you get going. How long you been cooking? What is this started like a hobby, or what got you into cooking?
Going to college. Going to college got me into cooking because nobody was feeding me and I was getting really hungry. And being a pro college kid, you have to be creative.
Okay. Can you remember what was the first thing you attempted to cook, or?
Actually, I started cooking steaks and pork chops and teriyaki chicken. It's just me and my friends. We just started watching some videos, and one guy bought some cookbooks, and we just started playing around in the kitchen.
Cool. So let me explain to the audience. So le pregunté al Chief a dónde empezó a cocinar, dónde el deseo, y estaba diciendo que cuando estaba yendo a la universidad, empezó a cocinar porque tenía hambre y sabía que tenía que comer. Y did I miss anything else, Miss Lares, on that one?
Él y sus amigos empezaron a cocinar, agarraron un libro de cocina y empezaron a hacer diferentes recetas.
Yeah. So now, Chief, so where are we at now?
So right now, because this is a pot, not a wider brim pan, because I usually like to use one of those because it spreads out the heat better and lets the mixture have better cooking time. The heat is spread out over a wider area.
Okay.
So in a pot, it's a little different because it's more concentrated, so you gotta stir it to make sure the bottom gets cooked as well as the top because of the different heat distribution, because of the profile of the cooking receptacle.
Right. So give us a minute, Chief, so we can translate that.
Dice que el tamaño de olla que él usa o cazuela es poquito más grande, pero siendo una cazuela chica de ese tamaño, él tiene que estar mezclando para que no se vaya a pegar o quemar. Ya teniendo una cazuela de más tamaño, entonces la carne puede estar más amplia, la comida, y puede el niveles de lo caliente se distribuye más evenly.
Que más parejo todo.
Sí, más parejo. Tiene que estar mezclándole ahí para que no se vaya a pegar.
Miss Lares, excellent. Miss Lares, I couldn't do that on the fly. That was super cool. You got that out down. You got it down.
So there, Mr. Gonzalez.
You got it. Excellent. On the fly. That was pretty good. Okay, Chief. So what's the next step? I'm already getting hungry. I feel like stopping the show and coming over.
Right.
Next step, like I said, because the moisture has to be cooked off and the top has to start forming a semi-salty crust.
Right.
When it gets a little better, more reduced in here, because right now you're still seeing a lot of liquids on top and boiled away.
Yes.
So it starts forming a more solid base. What you can do is you can start using this. That's why I'm using this kind of a spatula. You can kind of push it in, make it a little receptacle, and that's when you put in the eggs so it can sit in the intentions to poach.
Okay. Did you, Miss Lares, you got it? This is a tough one.
Dice que pues por ahorita es lo que está haciendo, no viendo cómo se está calentando, porque la cazuela está chica, o tiene que estar seguirlo mezclando. Estamos esperando hasta que se le haga, un crust arriba delgadito. Es cuando vamos a saber que ya va a estar listo.
Okay. Good. What's the usual cooking time for this entire dish, would you say?
Well, the prep time, as you see, was really fast because everything is store bought, so you just throw it all in there and just get it cooking. But the wait time is you gotta wait for the liquids to reduce.
Right.
Before you put in the eggs, and the eggs have to poach, and it takes a bit of time, like 20 minutes to poach. So total cooking time from start to finish, maybe an hour or so. But most of that waiting for the mixture to simmer down.
So parte de la preparación, porque demora tanto, es que estás cocinando con la llama baja y también porque vas I'm thinking the word, the boiled eggs, Miss Lares, the word it's not hitting my mind right now. But so para los huevos que lo vas a cocinar, ¿verdad? Y lo estás cocinando en la salsa, entonces por eso estás usando la llama un poco bajita. Sancochal is the word that came to mind. Yeah.
Sancochal.
Yeah. Okay, Chief, we're set up and cut up.
Okay, so as of right now, I'm sorry I still can't put the poached eggs in. So in the meantime, I'll just kind of explain that this is very similar like spaghetti and meat sauce, but it's with marinara and not tomato sauce. So it's not, in concept, it's a very simple kind of it's kind of like something a college kid would cook basically. You just throw in what ingredients you can buy from the store, and it's real simple, and just dip it, and it's really hearty. And so, I don't know if you want to see, I have one that's almost finished and still cooking away while this one's waiting because of the cooking time. So
Sure.
That time.
Okay, let's take a peek and give us a minute for Ms. Lares to translate that part for you while we're. So Ms. Lares, did you?
So lo que está haciendo ahorita estamos esperando, ¿verdad? Esperando hasta que esté eso, pero ahorita nos va a enseñar porque va a ser el side dish de los huevos, ¿no, Mr. González?
Yeah, he's going to put those in. Yeah.
Se llaman los huevos pomodoro. Pomodoro.
Pom de oro means tomato in Italian. Yeah, pom de oro means the tomatoes.
Y son, ¿por qué les dicen huevos del purgatorio?
Oh, that's a good question. Chief, is there a reason why the dish is called eggs in purgatory? Is there a reason? Is it because of the putting them in the heat?
Eggs in purgatory is actually a different dish that's very similar in concept. They call it eggs in purgatory because of the burning red sauce underneath with the eggs floating on top, so it's not burning mixture, it's not on top, so it's kind of like floating in between heaven and earth.
So I'm thinking Dante, Chief, I'm thinking Dante and the Infierno.
Yeah.
That's
where the name came from because it's very similar. You're not really free, but you're not sinking to the bottom of the burning red. I guess it would be the division of hell. So they call it eggs in purgatory. And the Turkish dish, shakshuka, is very similar in concept to that. It's just the ingredients that's different. And eggs in purgatory is actually also a tomato sauce, or puree tomatoes instead of marinara. So both of those dishes are actually very acidic and not meaty. Because eggs in purgatory also doesn't have any meat aside from just the protein from the eggs and then the tomato paste and whatever vegetables you put in there.
So más o menos lo que está diciendo Chief, que se llama los huevos en purgatorio porque los huevos están cocinando arriba de una salsa roja abajo y arriba, ¿verdad? So se están hirviendo, como pensando que si uno está en purgatorio. Me hizo pensar de Dante y su poema famoso El Infierno. Okay. Y todo está basado de un plato turco, que dice él. La única diferencia es que en huevos purgatorio usarían salsa de tomate, no la salsa marinaria que está usando en la hora italiana.
Okay. So this should be about right because I'm putting on a higher heat, so it'll boil way faster. So I'm gonna put the eggs in. So this is a smaller kind of a pan, so I don't know if I can put in 6, but I'll try. So the first one, always make sure it goes right in the middle. So and then just let it sit there, cooking in the.
So la primera siempre poner el huevo, tratar de ponerlo en medio, ¿verdad? empezar en medio. Dice que esta olla está un poco chica, o no cree que le van a caber 6, pero va a tratar.
And you just kind of put a ring around it.
Okay.
Hacerlo como un anillo. So the eggs go in once it empieza a boil, ¿verdad?
Right. So,
Ya está hirviendo. Yeah.
so then you'll just poach on top of the mixture, because if you put it in too early, then it'll probably sink right through because the bottom's still liquid. So that's why you want it to cook off a lot of the moisture, so it'll sit right on top.
So se ponen los huevos, se agregan los huevos ya que esté hirviendo, porque si no, si los pones muy pronto, solamente se van a desvanecer y irse para abajo. Y ya cuando está hirviendo y los ponen, entonces se quedan encima.
Oh my god. And then, alright, let's see this last one. There you go. So, there, I fit 6 in there.
Oh,
So that's how you make that pattern.
así
It's
se
all-
hace.
It doesn't matter where you put the eggs, I just like it because it looks pretty.
Que no importa dónde le pongan los huevos, pero a él le gusta así porque le gusta cómo se ve.
Yeah, I haven't really seen much. I haven't really had the opportunity to try the dishes with the eggs poached. I'm aware that Mrs. Sullivan was telling me that some dishes Italian, and I wasn't aware of Spanish dishes as well that had the eggs. I'm trying to think in Cuba if we have anything like that. I don't recall. In Mexican cooking, Miss Lattice, is something like that? Have you have it where your eggs are cooked in a dish like that? Do you know of any? I think I might have lost Miss Lattice there. All right, Chief. So where's the next part? Where are we going next?
Well, now you just cover it and let it simmer away. This is the best lid I can do. So
We have to improvise.
that you will just leave in there for a good 20-30 minutes. Keep an eye on it every once in a while to make sure the top is cooked off and the eggs are poaching. You don't want the eggs to be overcooked. You know, usually I like it to be sort of a medium runny kind of texture.
Okay,
As you'll break the bread into it, it works better.
so unos 20, 30 minutos más o menos. No quieres cocinar los huevos de mucho tampoco. Ponerle ojo y esperar que estén hirvidos todo, ¿verdad? So now so what are you usually doing during this time if you were at home? Chief, what would you be doing while the plate's cooking and what have you?
Actually, while it's cooking, I probably just turn on more YouTube to watch more videos on how to cook.
The mess that was left behind. I don't know if you like me, but man, when I cook, I leave an entire hurricane and then I go back and start. I know some people are more organized. They actually wash as they're using, but I'm not as that organized.
No, I just wash it all at once. That's another college habit. You just do it all at once. Same as laundry. You leave it for a whole week.
Right? You just do it all at once. So estamos hablando que unas personas somos más organizadas que otras. Por ejemplo, cuando estoy cocinando yo leo un reguero por toda la cocina. Y hay personas que les gustan limpiar mientras que están usando. Que es una buena idea. Some people who like to keep everything organized. I think Miss Carter brings to mind somebody like that. She'd probably have everything clean as she goes. Miss Carter's telling me no. She's telling me no. Okay.
If I start cleaning, I can't strip right back into cooking. I'm in one mode at a time.
I'm in agreement, Chief. I'm the same way. When I'm cooking, I'm cooking. I'm not worrying too much about cleaning. Is there a dessert that? Oh yeah, look at that.
That looks good.
It does look great.
You just leave it here and let it keep warm, but not hot. So when you eat, it won't burn your fingers. Like I'm burning right now. Oh, last batch of bread that we're gonna make right now.
¿Qué tanto lo cocina? Chifu, how often do you make this dish?
Pardon?
How
often do you make this dish?
How often do you cook the dish? How often do you cook this dish?
Oh,
Yeah.
whenever my daughter can convince me, because
my
daughter loves this dish, and she's always asking for it, but it just depends on when I get to the store to buy all the ingredients.
So you have fans, okay. So tiene favoritos que le gustan el plato que cocina el chef. Su hija se lo pregunta para cocinar, se lo pide. And then if you have any questions while we're cooking, if you want to mic yourself, you're welcome to ask any questions. Put any questions in the chat that you might have. Please forgive us for not offering that earlier, but actually this is our first time, so we're kind of getting used to the format being here instead at home. But if you have any questions you'd like to ask, feel free. Or if
Si
you
tienen
want to...
algunas preguntas, pueden ponerlo en el chat, gustan preguntar. Disculpe que no les habíamos dicho antes, una de las primeras veces que estamos cocinando en esta plataforma en la escuela. So, si tienen alguna pregunta, comentario, por favor, quiten de mute y pregunten o pónganlo en el chat y nosotros lo contestamos.
It's getting us a little bit to get used to. It's a different way, we're here. So actually, you would think that it would be a little bit easier, but yeah. Shakshuka, Ms. Carter said, what is that, Ms. Carter? Is that the name of the plate? Yes.
The original Turkish.
The original name. Shakshuka. I want to declare that if the food is ready, I might quit the show, guys, and go over to the kitchen over there. So I might retire if I see that.
This one's almost there, so maybe in about another. The yolks have to cook still. You want to unveil already? It's up to you. Mr. Gonzalez, you want it? The yolks are still not done on this one. Most of it's already done. The top is pretty solid. And the egg whites are good, but the yolk is still a little liquidy on some of them because of the heat.
So las yemas todavía no están cocinadas en este plato acá, so él está esperando acá. Le falta un poquito. And that one has been cooking a little bit longer, right, Chief? How long has that one been cooking for?
I started this one, I think when I got here about 5:20, 5:30, I started cooking this one.
So a good hour almost. So como una hora, Chief ha estado cocinando ese plato. Is it lit up? Did you see if it's, make sure the burner's lit up over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lit up? Okay.
Yeah, burner's lit up. And so usually at home I use a medium-high heat, depending on your settings, but you want to make sure that it cooks hot enough to boil the liquids, but not too hot to burn the bottom.
Yeah. So la meta es que tenerlo caliente suficiente para calentar el líquido, pero no tan caliente que vas a quemar todo el líquido, ¿verdad? So queremos tener todavía ese líquido cocinando.
I take out that. I don't think things, but I do like to start. I start throwing away trash and put away stuff that I'm done with. I don't start washing dishes or anything.
All right, now it's time to wash the dishes on that corner over there. Ya estamos el tiempo para lavar los platos. So Chief, when you're cooking this, is there anything on the side that you usually would cook with it, or anything that you kind of accompany this plate with when you cook?
No, this is one of those one skillet dinners where you just take the pot straight right to the kitchen, where the dining table, put it out there, and then everyone just grabs a plate with the bread and just start dipping and eating away.
There's no room for sides, is there? There's no room for sides, right, Chief? It kind of fills everything up there, yeah?
It's pretty hearty.
It looks pretty hearty, yeah. So le pregunté a Chief que si había algo que lo hace al lado, y me dice que no, porque cuando lo sirve en la mesa, es todo el mundo con el pedazo de pan y a comer. De verdad, no hay lugar. Not even a dessert, huh? Pretty much, you're pretty much full when you finish this thing, huh?
You are pretty full, that I can guarantee, definitely. Especially because this whole entire thing, it could really serve 4 people, conceivably.
Okay.
I mean, depending on how big, how much you eat, but it'll fill up 4 people.
Dice que llena muchas personas. Chief, is there, besides this dish, is there another favorite dish that you usually like to make? Is there something that you also like? What your next favorite dish?
Aside from actually cooking this stuff, my favorite thing to do is barbecuing.
Barbecuing.
I'm really good with a charcoal grill. I have a secret, and I do my half-inch ribeyes or 1-inch ribeyes, and I do my pork chops put meat on the charcoal grill. I don't like cooking it on the range.
Okay. So le gusta también hacer barbacoa al Chief. So barbecue, is there ribeyes what you like more? Like to cook beef more? Is that your beef?
I mean, the easiest thing, because a good steak, before you cook the steak, take it out. The secret is, don't take it straight out from the fridge. Take it out a couple hours beforehand. Let it get to room temperature. Make sure you dry it before you cook it. So use a paper towel and pat the surface of the steak so the surface is dry.
Okay.
Season it lightly with salt and pepper and just throw it on the grill. Make sure your charcoal is burning white hot. A good 1 inch ribeye only needs maybe 60 seconds one side, 30 seconds on the other side, and it's perfectly medium rare.
Ok, se está hablando, Chiste está preguntando los bistecs cómo le gusta cocinarlo, y él dice que cuando están en el refrigerador sacarlo afuera, que lleguen a la temperatura del cuarto, y para él encuentra que es mejor, una manera para él mejor para cocinar la carne en barbacoa. So the whole thing is you can't rush this plate, right? Because if you do, then you burn out the liquids.
Yeah, and also you want to make sure the eggs are poached correctly. And if you put in the eggs too early, they start sinking because the mixture is not solid enough. If you put it in too late, then the whole thing dries up and your eggs are still cooking on top, and the bottom might start burning. So you got a time where you see the top start forming a semi-crust, and that's when you can put in the eggs. About 30 minutes in.
30 minutes when it starts.
Puedes saber cuándo ponerle los huevos, ¿verdad?
Sí, porque si no se seca muy rápido o si no puedes hacer lo que se queme, ¿verdad? Abajo. Entonces es la cosa mantener esa llama a una temperatura baja, ¿verdad? So this is a plate that you usually, I think you need to think about prep at least an hour, maybe 2 hours before any meal, I think, that have things ready, don't you think?
Yeah, and like I said, cooking itself is not hard and doesn't take long. It's just the actual cooking time. So the work is not that bad.
So the preparation time, gotcha.
Have it cooking, and then in the half an hour wait in between all the stuff, and while it's cooking by itself, you know, watch some video, watch TV,
So la cosa es, lo que demora, ¿verdad? Es pasar el tiempo esperando que ya esté cocinado. Chief, I think if I was in that kitchen, that half that bread would be gone. I don't think there'd be no bread left. I couldn't wait. Miss Carter, we're gonna have to stash that plate somewhere for tomorrow.
Well, there's gonna be plenty. Because I made one ahead of time, so there's gonna be enough for at least 6 to 8 people.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Mr. Gonzalez, I was on my way back there. I need to know, do I need to bring my own plate?
Uh-oh.
I have plates here.
Bring the plates, Miss Carter.
Bring the plates? Okay, I'm on my way.
Bring the plates.
Save me a piece of bread.
I'm on my way.
So the preparation.
Send me some for tomorrow too, please.
We're gonna have to close the school at the front, Miss Carter. Only by sight only opening in the front. We're letting everyone in the back.
La comida no es muy.
I'm okay with that.
La comida, el platillo es muy fácil de hacer, nomás el tiempo, ¿verdad, Mr. González? De esperar. Pero mientras uno está esperando, puedes lavar los trastes, las cazuelas que estás usando, puedes hacer unas cosas así, ¿no, Mr. González?
No, Miss Lares, yo no puedo lavar los platos esperando, Miss Lares. Tengo que comer primero. Miss Lares asking me, you can wash the dishes while you're waiting. I told Miss Lares, I can't wash the dishes, Miss Lares. I have to eat first. Then I can wash the dishes. I look back and there's a mountain of mess.
The hope is that you're too full to even move to wash dishes afterwards. That's
right.
Every chef makes the chef happy to see everyone so full that they can't even move afterwards.
Yeah. So we'll see how close we get. At least, or if anything, Chief, at least we can show them. You know, if we get close to the time and it's not ready, we can always just show them close enough to where it's at, and then.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at this one is almost done.
Yeah, let's take a quick peek.
Give a close look. So you see the top already forming a solid crust. The fluids are burned off. The problem is the heat is not too even. So these eggs, these two are done. You can see that one is almost. These two are almost done.
Uh-huh.
This still needs a little bit more coating on the yolk.
Okay.
But what it turns out, so you can serve it right from the pan on what the pot is what I'm saying. You just take the bread and dip it, or you take a spatula and put it on top of your bread. And that's how you.
So Chief, if I understand you correctly, you're forming a crust on the top. That's what the goal is with the plate. It's got to form like a little bit of a crust on top.
Because that's when you know the bottom have all boiled off.
Right.
That's the sign when the top starts drying up.
Okay.
And that's you know that the sauce is not going to make the bread. So, it actually becomes a dip.
Oh, okay. So, le estaba preguntando a él, entonces tiene que tener como una caspa, is the word, Miss Blares, right? Una caspa arriba cuando está más o menos que va a estar listo, que está cocinado. Todavía le falta un poco los huevos, dice que todavía faltan cocinarlo un poco.
Porque el fuego no está nivelado, ¿no?
Sí, no está nivelado, bien cocinado. Yeah, so they're not evenly cooked yet. But
so unfortunately, yeah, because you see the way the heat might not be too even on the electric heaters. Some are cooked, and these two are definitely still not ready. But you see how the eggs are supposed to be kind of on top and poached with the liquidy yolk, and that's how you want it because you don't want the yolk right here is on top instead of cooked fully. So that's what you want.
So let's let's do this, Chief, real quick. So let's open up some questions, and maybe we'll give it hopefully another 5 minutes or so. Maybe things will be cooking up by then. And
those eggs are cooking. It's just I moved it to a different area so maybe the heat can get to it a little better.
Okay.
So he's not distributing.
Let me open it up to the audience out there, Chief, a minute. Let me see if we have any questions out there. Does anyone have any questions for the Chief? Anything about cooking? Si tienen preguntas o algo así para preguntarle al Chief?
Mr. Gonzalez, I have a question.
Yes.
I know that Chief Wu is a foodie, so what is your favorite restaurant and why?
Well, it depends on what kind of cuisine you're talking about. I got favorites in each type, but like Italian, Michelli's over in Studio City. You gotta love that place. They have a thing called pink lasagna. It's kind of like it's pink because of the sauce they mix. They mix a white sauce and a red sauce to make it pink, and they serve it over the lasagna. It's the diet. And then plus on top of that, the best thing about Michelli's, they have all their service staff. They're all aspiring actors and actresses, so they sing and perform in between their breaks. And whatever shows in town, that's what they'll do. So last time we were there, they were doing Phantom, and one time they were doing Lion King, and they were all really good. You'll love it. I recommend it. I think they're all good.
What is the name of the place again, Chief?
Michelli's, M-I-E-L-I ''S.
Michelli. We're gonna have to make like a Chief's favorite spots list that we're gonna put out with the flyer.
There you go.
So, estaba hablando, Chief, de un lugar italiano donde cantan también. Dice que muchas de las personas que trabajan ahí son artistas, cantantes o están aspirando, ¿verdad? So se llama Michelli's, right? Is that the name?
Michelli's, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions out there in TV land? We couldn't hear you there.
I was trying to be like a judge.
Oh, to be a judge. So he wants to go on that side.
Okay, to be a judge, you gotta first be a lawyer. So you gotta go to law school, take the test, get your license, become a lawyer, and you gotta have at least 10 years experience as a lawyer before you can apply to be a judge. Usually, then that's the minimum to qualify to apply. Doesn't mean you'll get it with 10 years of experience. Most people, and I know some judges, and I know some people who are applying to be judges, it takes about a good 15 years minimum before you get seriously considered. And it's not an easy process to go through a whole entire process where the various lawyer associations interview you, decide whether or not they want to sponsor you. You got to go through a judicial council review, so all the judges. There's a panel of judges that review your application. It goes up to the state for the governor to sign. It's a pretty involved process. So if you want to be a judge, my first recommendation is study hard and become a lawyer first, and then after you work as a lawyer for a while, then you can decide whether or not you want to be a judge or you want to stay as a lawyer. But that's the first round. You can't be a judge without being a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Anyone else? Any student else had any questions, like career choices or anything in justice or law enforcement?
Well, in the meantime, as far as Mexican food, for seafood, there's a place in Montebello called, I think it's Paradiso Nos en Chile. So like no chili, no paradise or something like that. I think it translates to. They got this whole fried the fish, and they have the garlic sauce on it. So then they give you this whole entire fried. I forget the name of the fish. But
okay.
They also, aside from the fried fish, they also have the steel pot, the bocadite, I think it's what it's called. So they, that big steel kettle, water-looking thing, and they put all in there with the sauce and the boil, and they just put the whole thing inside that steel mortar, and they serve it.
Chief, we're gonna have to bring you back on the show just to have the foodie section where you can recommend all these places that you're talking about.
I'll share my Yelp list. I have a couple of Yelp lists.
I think you do better than Yelp. We're gonna call the Chief's Yelp spot here. Where are we at, Chief? Where are we at?
Lugares.
Conoce muchos lugares para comer. Okay.
It looks like one egg that just refuses to cook the yolk.
Can we eat it with the egg just like that, Chief? I don't mind. Cut me the corner with the egg.
If you like, it's ready to go. All the rest is ready to go. This is
okay.
Chief,
you mind? Let's show everyone the plate. Let's show everyone the plate, and then
and before we do, parsley, very important. So you can also add parsley.
Okay.
Parsley flakes, and then sometimes you can, if you want grated Parmesan, you can sprinkle grated Parmesan so it melts on top.
Okay. So echarle perejil arriba también o queso parmesano.
También.
Okay.
Esto es más desayuno, ¿verdad, Mr. Gonzalez?
A breakfast, yeah, that's a heavy breakfast, Ms. Ladas, but yeah, un desayuno, yeah, we could do I eat different stuff for breakfast. I might do it. Okay.
So after the parsley, everyone knows parsley doesn't give any flavor, but it's just
right.
Good. That's all the colors.
Right yeah. I love it. And so, Chief, you serve yourself on a plate, and then grab a piece of bread and manja.
Oh no, I'm buying it. You guys go ahead.
No, but I'm saying, Chief, this is what you would do, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where's Miss Carter? Miss Carter, okay, Miss Carter. Let's see, Miss Carter. You got to get us on the plate. And Miss Carter's going to be our test. Chief, I want to warn you, Chief. You're going to have one of the strongest food critics here. She's the judge of our cooking here. So let's see. If I see a smile, Chief, you got the 100% award here. Let's see.
No pressure.
No pressure. No hay presión.
Generally, what I do is testing off the roller. So what you do is you just take.
Okay.
Vamos a saber qué tan rico cocina
el Chief. Yeah.
So what you do is you just use the bread and dip it, or you just ladle on top of the bread.
Awesome. Well, Miss Carter,
we want to see, Miss Carter, want to see the first bite.
Don't leave us in suspense here. Don't leave us in suspense.
Queremos ver la primera prueba.
Vamos a ver.
I'm gonna dip on the bread and I'm gonna bite it.
Oh, wow.
It smells delicious.
So the part, the egg yolk actually starts running onto the bread along with the meat. That's the best part. That way it's kind of medium.
All right, Miss Carter, here we go. The moment of truth.
It is hot. It looks hot.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to see.
Yeah?
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Uh-oh, Chief.
Wait. Nomás antojando, ¿verdad?
I know.
Thumbs up.
All right, Chief. Thank you so much, Chief. Thank you. You passed the test here. We're just about wrapping up, but before we go, did anyone had any questions or anything for Chief before we wrap up? Questions or anything? Okay. Chief, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, giving a chance to let everybody experience your cooking. And definitely, I'm going to have to come bring you back just for the foodie show, Chief, to give us some clues on the on some of the your recommendations for restaurants. Ms. Ladis, I'm going to turn it over to you in a minute. Let me just to share with each other. It was wonderful to have Chief tonight. Esto es lo que se trata el show que tenemos, ¿verdad? A compartir con la comunidad. Chief comes here to share with our community. I think food is the universal language. La comida es el idioma universal, ¿verdad? And so if we get a chance to share with the community, this is what happens here. So want to invite anyone who wants to come and join us. Feel free if you want to come to our show. I'm going to lead off with Ms. Ladis. Ms. Ladis, you know what the great part's going to be? That once we start coming back, students will be able to do this and come and cook here. And you guys will be able to share the different plates. So we're definitely looking forward. We're going to be making digital cookbooks for our students. Our students are going to be able to share dishes from different cultures. So we're super excited that when we come back. So like I was saying, I want to thank everyone. I'm going to leave it to Ms. Ladis to give us any community news that we have.
Hola, gracias a todos por reunirse con nosotros y a Chief Wu por cocinarnos este platillo tan delicioso. Y si quieren la receta también la vamos a tener. Y esta fue una experiencia bonita que pudimos compartir con el jefe de policía Chief Wu del distrito. Y la oportunidad, si tenían preguntas, cualquier cosa que quieran preguntar, él les respondería con mucha atención. También quería invitarlos a unirse a cualquier comité que tengan las escuelas. Por favor, háganse parte, participen, ayuden a los estudiantes a progresar, y cualquier junta, taller que tengamos, inviten, vengan a los talleres, aprendan algo nuevo, compartan cosas. Es de tratar de unirnos todos y ayudarnos unos a otros como puedan.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ladis. Thank you so much. So Ms. Ladis was saying pretty much that, this is a place where we can share. We invite, please participate in our school. Parents, you can come and try new ideas here. And we might keep the cooking show during the summer, depending how many people demand and how many people would like to come. So again, I want to thank Chief. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. Ms. Ladis, as always, our wonderful host, Ms. Ladis, who's always on the fly trying to translate all these difficult things at once. Thank you so much, Ms. Ladis. Thank you. We want to thank our cameraman, Mr. Sullivan, our principal, who was our cameraman tonight, did an excellent job.
Carter was wonderful.
Mr. Sullivan, thank you so much. Miss Carter, our food taster, who
this one actually felt a little better.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, that does look great.
So this one was, I guess because of the way it's more round, so it distributed a little more evenly. So this one, you can tell the eggs are going to be perfect on this one. In about another 10 minutes maybe.
We're coming over, Chief. I'm coming over. All right, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we'll see you. And again, if you want to volunteer for the show, please call the school. Ms. Ladis will take your information, and you're welcome. Mr. Wesley was on a couple of weeks ago. He's a star. I heard he's getting a booking on the Food Network.
Hey, you need to stop it. You better stop it.
All right.
I heard that.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
All right. I will see you later.
Good night, everyone. Good night.